voice acting career. What's up, everyone? Last episode ended with some intense fighting, and it has not changed now. Okay, that's enough of the weird voice. Welcome, folks, to Fluctuations Part 2.
Part dough, man. Boy, do I be fluctuating. You know what I mean? You can strike that from the record, actually. I don't know, maybe don't. It can mean whatever you want it to mean. Hi guys, I'm ready to talk about some treats and some trauma this episode.
As Jamie Lee Curtis would say, trauma, right? There's trauma in the air. So with that being said, there's a man in this episode who made me feel things he didn't make me feel before. I wasn't a Toji simp before this episode, and then I saw the menacing look in his eyes, and I was like, oh shit. So we'll talk a little bit more later.
Well, yeah, we got a lot to go over in this episode, because man, was that an episode. I think I screamed when it ended. I think that was the first time in JJK that I've literally, screamed when an episode ended. Like, I usually am like, ah! Oh! This one I was like, nah! So, that was a great sound. But let's dive into it. So this episode opens with Megumi trying to open the hole in the domain, as we saw last time, so the rest of the squad can escape while he tries to fight the octopus on his own. I like how he commented, Nanami was like, hey, be careful, don't sacrifice yourself. And what did Megumi say? He was like, I don't intend to, I don't intend to die, but I'm willing to, give my life for this, or something along those lines. And I was like, Megumi, stop, my son. However, as everyone starts to kind of get close to the hole, something unexpected happens, which we saw at the end of last episode. And dun dun dun! The new to Brian's list of simps, Toji, shows through the hole.
Bro, the way his eyes looked, he looked free, if you will, for a sense. It was the weirdest thing. Also, want to comment, his eyes look like the reanimation jutsu in Naruto. Emily, did you think that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that was definitely a nod to...
Oh, yeah, I definitely thought that too.
You need to be stopped. No. Stop that. I mean...
Biggest Naruto fan.
Biggest Naruto stan right here. I know it all, man. Hinata, she's great.
Oh, okay, girl. Okay, work. Hey, Hinata, we stand Hinata. Hinata be listening to Cardigan from Taylor Swift in the background, though.
No.
For real.
Not Cardigan.
No, I love this entire scene. It just looks so cool. And I think it was really interesting because the way he popped out, it kind of gave me the vibes of the Hidden Inventory arc when Gojo was standing above the rest of them and he was like, I alone am the strongest. Definitely gave me that vibe. So I thought that was a really cool way to start the episode.
I completely agree. I was actually going to say that I think that there's a really interesting parallel drawn there between Gojo's famous scene, because there are a handful of super famous lines, I would say, or panels in JJK from the manga. And so Gojo's line, I alone am among heaven and earth, I'm the chosen one, is pretty damn iconic. But this with Toji too is to the one who threw it all away, or something like that, among the Zenin clan, the one who threw it all away. It's just so cool. And but also opposite, because Gojo's levitating, and Toji, even though he is coming right side up, is not drawn that way. It's he's coming upside down, very Antichrist kind of. It's just really cool design choice. And I love that we got to see this animated. Both episodes, we got to see him, the literal fallout was really cool. And then how menacing he is, and the immediate realization that he's not recognized by most people in the room. Only as far as we're able to tell from the immediate reactions by one person that's there. And we all know who he is, and we all know that this is bad news, so it's fun as the audience to get to be, like, in on the secret when, like, the characters are not. I always really like that writing technique. So just a stellar and very, very unexpected entrance from this very dangerous but fine gentleman.
I wouldn't
His
call him
daddy.
gentle at all.
No, you're right.
He's not
He's
a gentleman.
barbarian.
He's a daddy.
All right. We're going there. I
need
like
to be
this.
Stopped.
No, you don't.
Side note, when Megami was like, Dade, I was like, oh, Megami, no. Don't question who that is. Just ignore him. He can't ignore him, but like, of course, like, we're jumping like right into some crazy stuff. The first thing this man does is take back what was originally his and steals Playful Cloud, the 3-section staff special grade tool, and he's off to the races. So Maki is really strong, and she's like, what the heck, man? Like, how did I just get beat out, like, strength-wise? That's crazy. But then we see the octopus severely underestimate him. Tell me what you think, but I have a theory that Mappa is continually animating Toji differently each time we see him to further highlight what a monster he is. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, they have their favorites, and Toji is definitely one of their favorites, 1000%. This scene was another one of so many that we've talked about that was really embellished by being in the anime. And also, I didn't call this out in the last episode, but like, y'all who are dunking on the animators are like crazy, because like, look at this. Just like, look at this scene. Like, the fluidity of the fight that's happening here is insane. Like, just Toji stepping into the water and walking alone is so gorgeous. Not to mention everything that follows. Like, we're eating good. They're busting their asses. It looks absolutely incredible. And I do think that they probably are animating him a little bit differently each time. And definitely they're adding to what was in the manga. Famously in this episode, when he caught that damn fish in his mouth. That is not in the manga. It is not. And it's like, oh no, he got. He got him. It was so good. It was like, oh, he's crazy. He's just my type.
Oh, that's perfect. I love that. I kind of agree with that statement. Is I think it was something Emily said about the hidden inventory arc. And the first time we saw Toji in Shibuya was that it was animated a little bit differently, in the sense that like he seemed a lot faster in comparison to who he was fighting against. And now that we see it, like, he's fighting against Dagon, who is a much lower level grade curse. He just looks that much faster. Like, it keeps getting worse because the difference in strength continues to be highlighted for how strong some of these characters are. And nonetheless, like Gojo, it poses the question, like, even if you are the strongest, are you infallible? Like, I think it gives us this sense of like security and, oh, this character's gonna have some really cool arcs and is gonna survive really well. But we've seen the character who claimed to be the strongest fall. So I think it's a really interesting way that they're highlighting how even the strongest characters can be outwitted, or maybe at some point these characters will have a different character arc. But I think it's really interesting just to kind of see the monster grow.
Yeah, I like what both of you had to say, both in the simping way and the philosophical way. I will say that moment where he grabs the fish with his mouth and then like spits it out or whatever, that is the scene I've seen the most on my like social media, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram. So much went down in this episode, which we're going to talk about, but like for some reason that is I know the reason. That is the one moment that is everywhere, and it's because this fandom is horny. But anyway, after the opening scene,
She said it. She said it on the nail. She put the nail on the head.
I mean,
it's Mappa did this to us. I will just say.
let me once again just get up on my soapbox for a minute and prophesy my theory. I don't think that no man wrote this. I know we don't have proof, but I'm like, listen, once again, yes, the animators are doing incredible, but like the women and the girlies and the gays and the theys be eaten with these guy characters, and none of the women are sexualized, and they're all so cool. I'm like, I don't think a man wrote this. I'm gonna be honest. Sorry, fellas. I just don't think so.
I agree.
So, we be eaten, and maybe we do be a little horny because this is the female gaze. So
This is literally for all of us. Every single other anime, all the fan services for straight men. Like, that's it. Oh, God. Okay, so after that opening, we see another legendary fight ensue, and it was amazing. I definitely noticed some dimming in this, which, again, I don't think is really an issue. I think, we've explained why they're doing that, and I could kind of tell in this scene, the way it was moving, I was like, honestly, I kind of understand it. It was very obvious to me this time, and I think it's because of the background coloring. Like, it made it kind of obvious that it was dimmer, but to me, it like just amazes me how incredible I still felt this fight scene was, even though I was a little bit like distracted by that dimming in this episode. I think that just really speaks for how incredible the animators are as they work on this, because when something like that like does kind of almost partially take me out of it, like I can't help but be like, oh my gosh, it's very dim, like I can tell, but still be sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is such an amazing fight scene. I think that just really speaks volumes for how much work was put into this fight scene. So shout out to the animators for that. And honestly, I might be buying the Blu-ray because I really do want to see, especially like specifically this fight scene in all of its glory, because the sequence of events is absolutely amazing. So now that I put my 2 cents in, how about your 2 cents about this fight scene?
Oh my god, just this opening scene. The way there was even a Bible reference here, and he parted the water. He was Moses. And my god, that man, literally, it was so cool. Like, he walked up, had Playful Cloud in hand, and he was like, I'm back and ready to roll. Oh my god. The dimming, this is the first time I've even noticed the dimming, so I don't even want to talk about that too much. What I will say about it is, if they had to dim it this much for photosensitive people, I'm glad they made it accessible, but I'm excited to see how much more that there is for like those who aren't photosensitive, because that means that the animators did so much better, but just due to like biology, you can't release it. So that's all I'm going to say about the dimming. But besides that, we're seeing Toji really unleash, and I think it's not truly understood how powerful he is, because we've only seen, like, for realistically one fight of Toji, right? We saw the Gojo versus Toji round 1, and then we saw round 2, and that was very limited, and it was a very big turnaround in between them. We saw some quick exchange between Granny's grandson and Yuji and Megumi for a hot second, and that was about it. But now you're seeing what he can do, really, and I think that's really crazy, to finally know that, like, what he is against like the rest of the cast, and it's scary. It's scary to think about that.
100%. He is really something else, and like, and they mentioned briefly here that like they're like, oh, like the granny who started this is dead, for one thing, and like in theory this should have worked when, or this should have ended when the grandson ran out of cursed energy. Like, even if he was dead too, like in theory, like Toji should have faded away. But the problem is that Toji doesn't have cursed energy. So there's not really an end in sight here, and he's the silent deadly type right now. He's like a reanimation. He's not really engaging in any dialogue. It just kind of seems like he's going after whoever's the strongest in the room, and when he's done with them, he's going to go to the next strongest. and like just like a death machine, I think is what they call him. And they really didn't hold back. Like this fight is crazy. It's like literally insane. I'm like, you have Dagon kind of like pulling out like all the stops. Like he's getting chomped on by some of the Shikigami. He gets attacked by these like two massive isopods, and just like he just like comes out of it all like smiling still. Like, and knowing that our three that were already in here were really struggling against Dagon to get out, and probably wouldn't have been able to without Megami showing up anyway. Like, Toji's taking all of this on by himself. And so that's just like insane to think about. As far as the animation goes, just like absolutely stunning. And I also will probably buy the Blu-ray because I really want to see, like, a couple people have done some mock-ups online of what it might look like undimmed, but I want to see the professional version. And like, again, just the fluidity of this movement is like so incredible, and it just goes to show like how far the art of animation has come, I think, especially with an incredible team like Mappa behind it. The movement from the stepping in the water to like the punching all these fish out of the sky, and like his back flipping, and the level of detail put into also like the movement of things like his clothing and his hair versus the other people is just so intricate and like carefully done. It really just looks so beautiful, even though it's a horrifying fight. So that just really speaks to the quality of the talent that's like working on this show.
Yeah, I didn't the narrator say like he, because like the granny is dead and the grandson is dead, like, and out of cursed energy, but because Toji didn't have any to begin with, he's just like he's like animalistically targeting whoever is strongest. Like he can sense who's the strongest and he's just going at it. So like it ends up kind of working in our favor as of right now, because like Toji breaks the fight and he starts to do something very strange. He starts to rub Playful Cloud together to form pointed ends on the staff. This baffles our sorcerer squad. Now, do you think that the group knew how powerful he was before he stepped into the domain, and that they have a plan of stopping him if need be? Or, like, I mean, they're kind of like, oh my gosh, we can maybe get out of here while he's doing that. Like, what's going on?
No, I don't think that. No, they don't know. With the exception of Grandpa Zenin, who was alive and knows exactly who Toji is, as like again, as the narrator says, the member of the Zenin clan who threw it all away. But like Megami and Maki would have been tiny, maybe not even born by the time he'd already like turned kind of wild. And Nanami, I think, I was actually talking to Tom about this, and I was like, I think Nanami does know who Toji is because of what happened with Hidden Inventory, but he might not know what he looks like.
Yeah.
He probably only knows about like, you know, secondhand, like the experience that Geto and Gojo had. He wasn't like actually there in the midst of all that fight. So while like I don't know that he's put two and two together quite yet, although I do think that between like him and Grandpa Zenin, they probably would try to come up with some way to take him out if they needed to, like on the fly, just because of their experience levels. But no, other than Grandpa Zenin, I don't think that they really know what's going on.
Yeah, I think very similarly. I think Maki, being a Zenin herself, might have heard rumors kind of similar to Nanami, like knows of Toji, but doesn't know exactly who Toji is. And so with that being said, I think she's just like, okay, well, I mean, this is a thing in front of me. I gotta do it. Megami doesn't know that's his dad, which is amazing, and I think is extremely ironic for the time being. And we mentioned in the last episode, Father, help. But is he going to help you in about 5 minutes? We'll find out, right? So I think this is really interesting. The biggest plan that they would have to stop him is hopefully using Grandpa Zenin's curse technique and breaking him a couple times, which, with how fast he's moving, I don't know that he could be caught in it. So there's a big problem there. Yeah. It's a tough time. Tough time to be a JJK sorcerer.
I would not want to be in their shoes. I mean, I want to be in like pretty much any anime character shoes, because that means trauma and pain and death. But anyway, I mean, this fight it's kind of working out in their favor though, because he's focused in on Dagon, so it's kind of like, like we're getting out of here maybe. Because eventually Toji beats the cursed spirit down, and that breaks the domain. They're suddenly no longer on the beach. Megumi breaks down from holding his domain for so long. Good work, Megumi. I'm proud of you. The beast is just walking straight towards them. And by the beast, I mean Toji. What would you do if you saw Toji just walking towards you like that?
Get on all fours and look back at it. Teddy.
Horny jail, bonk.
Literally, that's my only defense. I cannot believe I actually said that. I was like considering not saying it, but then I was like, I wrote this question so I could say it. So like, let me say it.
Why would you say something so brave yet so controversial?
Listen, we were all thinking it, okay? Listen, it's the kind of guy that if you piss your pants as he's walking towards you, it's socially acceptable, okay? Like, no one would blame you. You're like, yeah, that guy's terrifying. What are you going to do about it? You're going to do nothing. Like, you're going to eat your bagel before you die. I don't know. I don't know where the New York accent came from either, but here it is.
I mean, is there a, we probably shouldn't sidetrack with this, but I was going to ask if there is a list of other men that it would be a reasonable reaction to piss your pants when they show up. But you know what? I actually don't want to know. I'm good. Toji's enough. Yeah, if I saw Toji walking towards me like that, man, I have to follow Brian on this. Shall I once again quote the internet and say, show Shibuya a real incident?
Oh no.
Sorry.
I can't breathe.
My stomach hurts from laughing.
I say that, and then I feel like he would just like crush my skull or like just something insane. Like, I don't know. But maybe he smells though, like in real life, so maybe that would like not work very well for me. We'll see.
He might smell.
I'm gonna be able to get over it. I don't think he smells
for
good,
him.
Though.
For him. I don't know what I would do. He's very hot, but I think I would be far too scared to do anything else. So I can't come up with any clever comments here. I would just take it.
I mean, we're taking it too, just in a different way.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why I said take it.
This episode's rated R.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to rate this R for sure.
Explicit content. Oh Lord. Okay, but he doesn't come for us. He comes for Megumi. Okay. No. Wait. Can we cut that out? No, that's not what I mean. Can we cut that out,
please? Oh my god, Emily. Hannah's so red right now. Hannah, show us your face.
No. Not the literal blanket of shame.
I'm not here.
Mom, come get me. The podcast got too real.
This is a screenshot.
Oh, wait. I'm gonna try and screenshot this. Hold on.
Tell me when it's safe to come out of my cocoon.
It's never safe. Okay, I got the screenshot. Great.
Well, that was good. I needed that. Aww. No.
Oh my god, this.
Whew.
If I have a 6-pack tomorrow,
Okay.
guys, don't be surprised because I laugh so hard.
I'm crying. All right. I mean, I'm just getting prepared for tomorrow. Crying. All right. Jokes aside, he attacks Megumi, and we're about to get Megumi versus Toji, which I, for one, am very excited about, but also, like, how the heck is Megumi gonna fight Toji? That's some mismatched power right there. That needs to be, like, Nanami or Yuji. Stop. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that look means. Anyway.
Oh, you're
Before
about to
we
find
can
out next
even-
week.
Before we can even worry too much about Megumi getting pushed out of there, Mike Wazowski's cousin shows up, aka Jogo. I did not miss that guy. And he literally straight up incinerates Maki and Nanami. And I don't care about him, but Grandpa Zenin.
Let me start by addressing Megumi being pushed out the window. All I'm going to say about that is we just established that Toji is going after whoever is strongest next in the room.
Let's
Hannah's
go!
face.
That's my son! That's my boy!
Yeah, because we know he's in there with the likes of Grandpa Zenin, who is like the second fastest compared to Gojo. He is in there with Nanami, who is second strongest compared to Gojo, like physically. And we're in there with Maki, who is the physical, like just physical brute strength from the Zenin clan. And yet Toji goes for Megumi. So, I'm just going to leave that there. Do with that what you will. As far as Jogo, honestly, fuck that one-eyed freak this episode. I hate him. He is a fugly skank. I hate him.
Okay, Regina
But-
George.
From what we know, doesn't this seem to contradict? Kinda, because he's been like kind of a pushover for most of this, or like not as like we haven't seen him like incinerate anything in a while. But like ultimately he is still on the other team, you know? So like I think what's really creepy about it is how quickly this happens and how matter of fact he is about it. He's like, 3 of you here. Okay, that's 1 done. Here's 2. Here's 3. He is like, I don't know. I do think generally Jogo's kind of funny, but I think that it's partially because of his design is like just kind of goofy and like childish looking, and we forget that like he actually is really strong and is kind of like second fiddle to Pseudo Geto. I think we've forgotten that because he just hasn't been like a very active participant as much as like an observer in the fights that we've had so far in Shibuya. So Jogo is quite strong, and as of this moment, it seems like that is not such great news for our trio that is currently in the room.
Yeah, I think that the entire sequence there was really disturbing almost. From, Megumi getting pushed out the window, and he didn't even realize he got pushed out the window. Like, he didn't even know until it was realistically there. Like, it was just so wild to kind of see that. And I think the title card has come into the episode at this point. Now, I want to call out to something in the title card. Did you guys notice that they made the title card tropical theme after the beach scene? That it was all, like, island vibes? Did you hear the OST for that?
Not the Animal Crossing New Horizons treatment.
But yeah, and then second, Jogo. Jogo kind of reminds me, Emily, Hannah, you're not going to get this because you didn't watch SpongeBob, but Emily, you remember when Squidward was a superhero and he had the volcano on his head?
Krakatoa.
Yes!
Yes. That's Jogo. For real.
Yeah, I think that this is realistically just a bad time for everybody involved. Like, no one's having fun. Um, Honestly, I don't know if I was in this situation. Like, if I was an observer, I couldn't even eat my popcorn doing this because this would be terrible. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. This is just too good. It's too good for like the other team to then be able to say, "Wow, like what a position they're in." Like they have something that's literally working for them, defeating all of the sorcerers who are pretty strong. Hopefully, it doesn't bite them in the ass, but we'll see.
I mean, I'm confused right now because they can't be dead like that. Like, I'm just gonna move on. I'm just gonna move on. We're gonna come. We're gonna come back to it. We're gonna go to Yuji because we haven't seen him in a minute, and last we saw him, he was like barely breathing and limp on the ground. So you know, the two girls we saw helping him at the end of that episode are. I'm just gonna say this right now. Brian wrote the script.
I sure did.
Those two girls are giving him the finger licking good treatment and sliding those down his throat like no other. I do not endorse this line. I am only saying it because Brian wrote
because it is written, so it shall be.
He's not having a great time though. Jogo shows up and brings out an entire roll of fingers. Damn, man, he ordered the entire bucket of fingers. This is still Brian's script that I am reading.
She's
Incredible
so mad.
line read, Hannah. Incredible. So this is like not. It's already like all of us are sitting here like gripping the sides of our sofas or our chairs. We're like, don't do it. Like to the girls, we're like, don't do it. don't give him the finger. And they give him the finger. And then like the way that like them just pulling it out summons Jogo so fast, and we see him like slide as he's coming off the stairs to watch them. And then we see him kind of give them the same treatment that the three downstairs just got, but he's like, well, I'm actually going to make use of this timing because looky what I have here. And it's a lot of fingers, and so he like force feeds them, and then I think he says like in total Yuji should have 15 of the 20 now. And we briefly see a flashback to Geto here as well, where Geto's like, yeah, I don't think that like Yuji would ever give control to Sukuna because Yuji's incredibly strong as well and like very strong-willed. Of course, that's assuming that he ate like one finger a day for 20 days. However, who knows what's going to happen if you fed him like 10 or 15, in one sitting, which is what we are seeing happen here. So, is this going to go well for Jogo? From what we know of Sukuna, I don't really think he marches to the beat of any drum but his own. But I do think we're about to see him. So.
Yeah, I remember when I read this in the manga, I was shook. Like when I saw him pull out the entire roll of fingers, because it was, I think the way the panels were set up, it was a turn page. So like I was like, of course I'm sliding on my phone because I didn't have the paper manga. I still don't have the paper manga. Maybe I'll buy it one day. Side tangent. But nonetheless, right? Like I'm sliding on my phone and I slide and I literally stopped. I was like, oh my god, because it was one of those page panels and I saw the entire like roll and I was like, oh shit. Like I was so surprised. Like I think this is one of the big Shibuya twists that I really am excited that they did, because I feel like it could have been very easy to give Yuji a power up through training, but giving him a power up through trauma like this is a lot more realistic in life. Like when you look at people and how they grow, they usually, or most of the time, are trying to grow out of those things that cause them trauma. And I think this is going to be a moment that really impacts the way his character arc goes for the rest of the show or the rest of the story as the manga continues. So I'm really excited for that. Those girls, they're crazy. They thought they were doing something with one finger. From what we saw, Jogo literally brought like a bomb to a gunfight. Okay, like he said, I have way more power than you could even imagine. So now that Yuji has 15 fingers in him, man, what a time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a mistake for both Jogo and the girls because they are like, oh, we want Sukuna. And I'm like, no, you don't want Sukuna. But also, like, we kind of want Sukuna because Yuji's, like, on his deathbed. So it's like, do we want Sukuna? No, but yes, but, like, what? In what way? I think the girls were at least trying, they gave him one finger in hopes that, it would kind of be what we talked about a few episodes ago where, like, Sukuna has control over his body for, like, 1 minute. Maybe they can, because we get a flashback. These are like the girls that Geto adopted, is what I got from that flashback. And like their whole mission here is they want Sukuna to kill Gojo for killing Geto. Right? Is that what they said?
They want him to kill Geto.
Oh, that's right. They want him to kill Geto because he's an imposter. So they're impersonating like the person they kind of saw as a father figure. And I think they were maybe more on the right track with having like one finger, because like we just talked about how Yuji should be able to like be strong-willed and maybe not really bring him out, but then Jogo's like 10 fingers. And yeah, that was like when the camera angle went back and we keep seeing Yuji kind of like back like this and he's unconscious, and then it goes back to him and Sukuna's like I was like, "Oh!" Oh no. And it does not end well for the girls either. Like that really, it didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me at all to see him kill them like that, but it definitely still like that was sad, man. That was sad. When Sukuna awakens, there's a fear greater than when Gojo was alive striking through these characters. So with like how he handles the girls and then how he handles Jogo, like what did you think of that scene, like, and how like Sukuna like the way he's acting, considering we've really only seen him like this a few times?
Yeah, I think that this is really interesting to see how the big bad really is. Like, it's very different from most anime when the main antagonist is like living inside the main protagonist, as to where like an Attack on Titan, like the protagonist is like a visual, physical like thing, and the incarnation of that is like the Titans, right? So like that's pretty easy. Or like even with Demon Slayer, Muzan shows up in episode 7, and we know that he has those like red pink eyes that we can identify them by. So that's a pretty easy thing to figure out. But Sukuna being so similar to Yuji gives you, it kind of gives you that thing that we were talking about earlier with Shibuya being empty. It's so familiar yet so creepy that it gives you that like true fear. And I think that's what's hard about it, is that like you see that face as Yuji, but you know it's not. So it's just a really interesting way to pose the antagonist.
This scene was crazy. I remember reading this in the manga for the first time, and I do think it's embellished by being animated. The subtle way that you realize that he's there, like the switch happening, is because actually Jogo gets like sliced also, because he says like, you all are standing like awfully high when I'm here. And so there's an interesting nod there to the girls who have been taught like some of the traditional ways by Geto in their past. They're forming like the perfect deep bow, which allows them to narrowly miss the slice And Jogo, and he even like said, like, he's so scary. Like, the change in demeanor, he's like talking to Jogo, like, did you think one knee would be enough? Like, it happened, and it happened so fast. And so, like, the minute that the girls, like, both in the manga and here in the anime, said, like, essentially, we want something from you, I feel like I knew that it was, like, over for them. I was not necessarily expecting exactly how it happened. To quote myself, the first time I read it, they got chunked. It's, like, brutal. And he doesn't even move. He doesn't even have to, like, really move to make any of this happen beyond just, like, standing up. He's horrifying. He is so strong, and all of them recognize this. And it's weird because he's also, like, he's drawn to be kind of fine also. Which is weird because it's Yuji's body, but it really, it's not the body necessarily as much as I think it's, like, the sense of confidence and, like, it's a complete different aura and demeanor. And so it's, like, it's fine, but it's in the most terrifying way. Like, if Toji's scary, like, this is something else. This is, like, the most ancient curse and god that you could fight, and I think that they've captured that really well between the presence that's exuded by this character, the voice. I don't know. It's just so eerie, and this is just the beginning. He's out now. Not good.
Pandora's box is wide open.
I can't even begin to, like, wonder what's gonna happen next with, like, because he's in control. Yuji is, like, not even existing at, like, right now, at least as far as what I can see. I don't know, like, I know he's probably trying to put up a fight, but he was out of the fight. So 10 fingers or 11 fingers at once is, like, not good. It also gets us really far ahead in the whole, like, trajectory of the story, I feel like. So it's kind of like defeating 10 upper moons at once. But we close the episode with Sukuna telling Jogo that if he can land even one hit on him, that he will serve under him and do what he, like, wants, essentially, like, to request. But do you think there is even a slight chance of this happening? Because honestly, I don't think so. Or do you think Sukuna would even follow through on that promise if Jogo did manage to, like, land a hit on him?
In regards to the second question, I don't know. I actually do kind of think that he probably would follow through on what he said if it were to come to pass, like, because he is ancient, but he does seem to generally have a respect for the rules of, like, fights, and things like that, because he was a sorcerer too. This is like he's a little different. He's not really, like, just a curse, like, he's more along the lines of a reincarnation, I think, in my opinion. He's the king of the curses, but he was a sorcerer at some point in time. So, I don't know. I feel like he might have respect for that. Not to say he might not play dirty in other ways, but I think he probably, if he said something, he would follow through. As of right now. As far as, like, do I think Jogo stands a chance? No. Like, not at all. We just saw the interaction between them, and he couldn't even sense that, like, the change had happened in Yuji's body fast enough to be on the ground to not get sliced. I do not think he stands a chance in a fight. And to paraphrase Tom here, and Tom and I like Jogo too. Like, as far as the villains go, I do think he's, like, one of the funniest or, like, the most interesting to watch of the group so far. But what Tom says is, like, Jogo is really strong, but he always picks the wrong people to fight. And I think that that's really, really true here. We're going to have to see what happens, but, like, no, I don't think he stands a chance.
This is a pivotal moment in the story, because we know that this is going to be a big fight. Either way, even if Jogo miraculously lands a hit on Sukuna, this changes the trajectory of the plot of the story. Like, imagine having Muzan Kibutsuji wrapped around your finger. And that's even if he would follow through on it. But even if not, that's a big piece for the bad guys taken out, right? Because Jogo is a pretty strong cursed spirit. So Pseudo Ghetto's lost a piece in his fight. So what does that mean for the bad guys at this point? They still have Gojo sealed, sure, but in a counterattack that could happen, what are they going to do about it? So there's a lot to be thought about there. Do I think that Sukuna would follow through? I don't know. I'm kind of more towards the side of Emily when she said, would he play dirty otherwise? I think he would probably like maliciously comply. And I think that's where it would come in. Malicious compliance to his own benefit is where I think this would go. So I'm really interested to see what a lot of anime onlys think, because obviously I know what happens from being a manga reader, but I do want to see what people speculate with. So if you have speculations, drop them in the comments.
Yes, I have speculations, but I will withhold for now because we are at time. So before we move into our favorite moments, do you have anything else to add? No?
Nope.
All right. Cool.
Toji.
Well, then let's just... Toji. Toji.
Fushiguro Toji.
Zenin Toji. Wait. Zenin Toji. There you go.
That's a pretty good narrator impression.
Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu. Anyway, let's move into our favorite moments. It's again, and I say this a lot with Demon Slayer, I say this a lot with Jujutsu Kaisen. It's very hard to call out a specific favorite moment, but I will say that opening fight sequence, even with the dimming, was just so fluid and so good. And I was enjoying seeing Toji back, even though I don't really like that he's back. And I'm like, that is a corpse. That is a ghost, to quote Grandpa Zenin. Like, it was still such a good fight scene, and I was like,
Man, thinking about favorite moments for this episode, and I don't want to just say Toji. I will pick a specific moment from Toji. I think it was one of the opening scenes where you saw his face, and it was panning down at him, so the camera was like above him, and you saw his face, and he was just like smiling. It was so menacing. It was so cool. I also think he kind of looked like Madara Uchiha in that moment, and I think that was like another borrowed moment. So maybe that was me, but realistically, I think that the entire fight sequence with watching Toji just go after Dagon, especially when he started like beating him with Playful Cloud towards the end of the fight, and it even broke at one point, and he literally just like smacked the crap out of him with it. I was like just amazed at like how powerful someone who could be seen as like a monkey, quote unquote, like a monkey without cursed energy, can be in this world.
This episode is exactly what I mean when I say that, like, it's so hard to echo Hannah, to pick one, because like, I don't know, it seems almost like every episode keeps getting better and better. It's like, yeah, I feel like we mentioned that like season 1 is you have to kind of know a bunch of these characters. We need to get introduced and we need to understand the basic power structure, but this is really where we're getting into the battlefield, and we get into it so quickly, and so much happens that is so exciting and so unexpected, and it's layered really, really well. So it's very hard to pick a favorite moment. We've talked a lot about Toji, and I agree that like this whole first sequence is incredible, but I want to give some love to the second half of the episode too, because I really think that like the reintroduction of Sukuna here is so frightening and not done in a way that's similar to anything else that I can recall. The way that I think if I'm calling out one specific moment, it's when the first slice happens before we've even seen Yuji's body get up. As far as we knew, like we didn't know exactly when that moment happened, and it happened so abruptly, and it just like it just really, really demonstrates the power that this character commands and how frightening he is. So I thought that was really cool and really exciting. I felt that way when I was reading the manga and watching it again here in the anime. I thought it was extraordinarily well done for one of our main villains in the show.
All really good moments. Very excited to see what happens in the next episode. But with that, let's move quickly into our Shibuya secret. This one's a pretty interesting one. Yomen Sukuna was a real person who existed in Japan's history and was later made to be a legend or myth. The real Yomen Sukuna was a renowned leader, but the Yamato family sought to overthrow him through a hostile takeover. The stories about Sukuna are covered in an ancient book of classical Japanese history called Nihon Shoki, translated as The Chronicles of Japan. The name Ryomen Sukuna means two-sided, two-faced spirit. So there's your little Japanese history of the day. But with that, that's all the time we have for today. So we hope you enjoyed it. That was a little bit wacky, but you never know what you're going to get with the three of us in a room together, or a virtual room together. But we hope you will come back next week and we didn't scare you off too much. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell on YouTube. Download the podcast, follow us on Spotify, or give us that 5-star rating. Thank you to the 27 people who have done so. You can also give us a follow on TikTok and Instagram at the Hashira Half Hour, and we are on X as the Hashira Half. Till next week, Io
Yoimo.
Yo, I'm